Hi again, everybody, and welcome to Retirement SOS. My name is Ernie.
I'm Beth. This is Ruby.
And Beth and I, in April, were on a cruise with Celebrity Cruise Lines. We were cruising the Eastern Caribbean, and everything went well. We loved the
It was
cruise.
wonderful.
But unfortunately, on the last day, I got sick. And I know during dinner, our last dinner in the dining room, I was starting to lose my voice and I was coughing and I could tell I wasn't feeling that well. And then I really didn't sleep that well that night. And then in the morning, I woke up and I was nauseous and I was dizzy. And we had to get off the ship at 7:30, and all I wanted to do was go back to bed. Were you worried about me or?
Yeah, you were really sick. I haven't seen you that sick in a long time.
And I had no energy. So just getting off the ship was hard. I'm tugging my suitcase with me and my backpack. And then finally getting in the taxi, I wasn't feeling that great. And again, I was worried about my nauseousness. The last thing I wanted to do was upchuck in some guy's taxi. Then we got to the airport and I was so happy that I made it through the security line, but then suddenly something got over me. As we were walking to our gate, I started to sweat. I got so nauseous, and I told Beth that I was going to throw up.
Yeah,
And then luckily, you spotted what?
a garbage can.
So I just went to this garbage can and both of my hands were on either side of the can and I just threw up into the can.
Oh, it was not pleasant.
No. And then finally we made it to our gate. And then luckily there was a washroom. This is the Fort Lauderdale airport. There was a washroom very close to our gate because I had to use the washroom every so often and we still had a few hours to get on our plane. And again, it was the nauseousness that was really, really bothering me. I was no longer hot, but I was just feeling so queasy.
But it wasn't food poisoning because you were also chilled and achy and feverish, and it was the flu. You caught some sort of bug.
I think, you know who I caught it from? I think I caught it from that guy that I would always see on the fifth level when I'd go down to get our coffees at 6:30 in the morning. And
Oh, you can't pinpoint one person on a cruise of, 1,500 people.
I don't blame him because he'd been on 176 cruises.
Yeah.
And I think
he was immune to the virus, but he was spreading it.
Yeah, I know. And even the staff at the coffee bar were saying, this guy is a soldier, 176 cruises. And everybody knows him. So I think I caught it from him. I was so afraid as we were boarding the flight that something might happen. So what I did is I had this white Target bag and I had a window seat. You were in the middle, and then there was this lady in the aisle. And I don't think she realized how sick I was. And you kind of left me alone on that flight.
Yeah, you were pretty quiet, and I was just like, let him be. And, I was trying to lean the other way so I didn't catch it.
And I have to admit, though, I was a little bit worried that the flight from Fort Lauderdale to Toronto, I was worried that if there was going to be a lot of turbulence, that's going to really upset my stomach. But luckily, it was a very smooth flight.
Mm-hmm.
So I was feeling okay getting off our flight, but I was just very, very weak.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we got into the taxi, I was, my nauseousness was still there, but again, it was more weakness. And as soon as I got home, I just dropped my suitcase and my backpack on the foyer floor, and I ran right up to bed, and I was in bed for 48 hours.
Yeah, you were really sick.
So that's, otherwise, it was a really good cruise. So
it was a wonderful cruise.
Yeah, I don't want to create a bad impression of it because I was very impressed with,
It was our first time on Celebrity. We would highly recommend it. It was just a fluke because I didn't get sick.
No, you didn't. So Beth, the nightmare continues. I'm up in bed. Then you face some horrific things in the house?
Well, I had already kind of knew because my son was the house sitter, dog sitter while we were away. And he texted me at the airport to say that there was a gas leak. So the gas company had to come in a few days prior or a couple days prior to turn the gas off. So we were coming home to no heat, and we had a really cold spring here in Toronto. So the house was cold. My daughter had come over actually to do some dog sitting, even though she doesn't live at home, to help my son out, and she smelled gas. And she wasn't sure because we'd never experienced it before, but she called her boyfriend over, and they were like, yeah, this is not right. The whole house smelled like gas. So the gas got turned off. There was a leak, and my son didn't really know what to do about it, so he kind of just left it since we were going to be home in a couple days anyway. So we had no heat when we got in, and then I think my son didn't want to break all this to me all at once. So sort of he let me in on all the news a little at a time. So, I started unpacking suitcases going, okay, well, I'm going to, call the gas company on Monday and get all that worked out. And he goes, oh, by the way, there's no hot water. I'm like, what do you mean there's no hot water? Unrelated to the gas leak, our hot water tank, which is as old as the house, like 30 years old, and we knew it was on its last legs,
died.
Decided to up and die at the same time as this gas leak. So we had no heat, we had no hot water.
And you had a sick husband.
He's up in bed, and I'm like, okay, so it's going to be cold showers or something until, Monday we can get all this worked out. And, I'm, doing a few more things. And then he goes, oh, I headed upstairs. And I guess before I got up there, he wanted to let me know that
This is bad.
Ruby, our dog, had like the worst case of diarrhea across my daughter's bedroom that you've ever seen. And, he claims he tried to clean it up, but he didn't. So there was that to deal with, like just diarrhea everywhere. It was just awful. And we also had a toilet issue. One of our upstairs toilets broke at the same time. So it was just, I was so relaxed after this cruise for about 10 minutes. And getting home was an absolute nightmare. And it did take a while. It took about 4 days to get the hot water tank.
Gas.
Well, by the time you got better, you dealt with getting a new hot water tank in, and the gas leak cost us a lot of money to get fixed. And Ruby was wearing a sweater. I was, going to bed with a, long sleeve shirt and extra blankets, and I was sleeping away from him because I didn't want what he had. It was a nightmare, and I don't even know how it all kind of came together all at once, but it just was awful.
Maybe it wasn't such a bad thing being sick for 48 hours, because I was oblivious to a lot of these things.
Well, I'm sure you could hear me screaming.
Yes, I could.
Everywhere I turned, there was another piddle on the rug. Or, Ruby's a small dog with a walnut-sized bladder, and then she had stomach issues. I don't think she was used to our son being the dog sitter. Usually it's our daughter. She's a little bit more maternal. It did not go well. I don't think he let her out enough. I don't think he walked her. I don't know what happened, but that was bad. And then just everything went downhill from there.
You know what? I think we take the cake for the worst ending of a vacation ever. If you've had a worse one than that, just tell us in the comments. But I don't think anybody's going to comment on it, because I can't see it being any worse than what we experienced.
I went back to work and people were like, how was your vacation? I just couldn't even remember, because I was like, what vacation?
We're dealing with so much. But anyways, again, we did have a great cruise. The Eastern Caribbean, we had great weather. Every day was between 26 and 30 degrees Celsius.
Yeah. And we had never been on Celebrity. We were curious about that. Highly recommend it. The food was fabulous.
And the service.
Yes.
Was also.
Service is just really a nice cruise line. Highly recommend it.
Yes. So kudos to Celebrity Cruise Lines.
Yes.
Well, that's our video for today. Hope you enjoyed it. I know it was a little bit unusual because we didn't really talk that much about the cruise. It was more the ending, but as Beth and I said, we had a great time. Unfortunately, the ending could have been a little bit better. I'm sure our next vacation, nothing like that, hopefully will ever happen to us
Yes.
again. Right?
Yes.
All righty. So until next time, bye for now.